and welcome to this live broadcast. I am Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach, and this week on the show where we discuss how to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal with a guaranteed profit of $25,000. This week, I am bringing in a legend, and I mean an absolute legend in the real estate investing industry. Now, if you're a baseball follower, right, if you see one of the big players back in the day, Don Mattingly, Nolan Ryan, walking down the street, you would run over, get this guy to sign a ball. This guy that I'm about to bring on the show is one of the legends that I met very early on in my career, and he's been guiding people just like you to do deals in his market using creative financing. I can't wait to bring him on the show, so let's do it right now. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Mr. William Tingle. What's up, baby? How you doing?
Hey, Dottie, man, that's crazy. I tell you, I hope I live up to the hype. I have been around a long time. You're right about that, but that just makes me old.
It makes you an OG. Don't feel old. You have been an absolute veteran in the industry for a very long time. Let's hop right in, William. Obviously, you're the host of sub2tv.com, sub2 deals. Start with that. What is a sub2 deal? Give me the basic breakdown for all of our viewers here. What is sub2? What do you do for people here?
And sub2 is the neatest thing since lines on paper. When I got started investing, and I know you probably can relate to this, and most people listening can. A lot of people getting started don't have a lot of money.
Right.
They don't have. Maybe they got bad credit. A variety of things. And even if you got great credit and cash, banks have a cutoff for most people. They won't finance any more properties. They say you have too much exposure with us.
That's right.
Which just means you owe them too much money. And the cool thing about sub2 is I learned early on, I wanted to create a certain lifestyle, and the ability to do that meant I had to, collect so many properties and so much cash flow. Mm-hmm. And if the bank was going to cut me off at 20 properties or whatever the number was, I don't like to be limited in what I can make. So buying sub2, taking over payments on existing debt, and I can buy as many of those houses as I want. If I want to buy 100 this year, all I've got to do is go find the deals, and I can do it. No bank approval. Most of them very limited cash. I can tell you about a deal we got under contract yesterday. Later on, we'll talk about that. But you can buy as many houses as you want. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I love that. And you're taking over payments. So basically, the person who owns the property has a mortgage on the home right now. You're deeding the property over to yourself, your entity, right? And then you are making payments directly to the bank. Is that the basis?
That is absolutely correct.
So why does anybody let you do that? What we're going to do is we're going to run through my 5F process just in the sub2 world. So let's start with that. How do you find, because the first F in our process here is finding deals. Give my listeners a little bit of understanding on how they would find a subject to deal where somebody would let them take over payments.
Well, there's a variety of ways to do it. People can just contact you and you suggest it and they're okay. But the main way that we do it is targeting people who are most likely to do that. And quite honestly, that's just people that have a situation that has what I call a drop dead date. In other words, people that are in trouble, this or that's going on, they got indefinite time. Foreclosures, for example, they got a date that they have to do something by.
Absolutely.
Getting a divorce may have a date that they have to accomplish something by. So people, code enforcement problems, lien and judgment problems, if they're going to an auction or anything like that, they've got dates where problems have to be solved by that date. And those are people that we really focus on.
So you're finding those from notice of default records. You're tracking houses that are behind and filed in the newspaper. Walk me through the finding just a little bit more. Where do you locate the best deals that you've done? I know you got some radio ads, etc. Talk about that.
We do radio, and if you've got a little bit larger budget, radio is surprisingly inexpensive if you're a good negotiator, which if you're a real estate investor, you should be a good
Better be.
But we're on 3 radio stations in our area that cover hundreds of thousands of people for about $3,000 a month.
That's not bad at all.
That's not expensive at all. Secondly, we talk about foreclosures. I hear people all the time talk about buying lists, pulling lists off of PropStream or Batch or any of that stuff. We use PropStream every day. It's not a good list producer. They're outdated a lot of times. They don't get updated very quickly. Your best source for leads is your county courthouse.
Okay.
County courthouse every week, pulling the freshest leads, contacting those people right away, putting them in our funnel, and staying with them until their foreclosure's finished.
I love that. So we're going after motivated sellers. Like you said, they're on a timeline. So you got to find the deal by locating those motivated sellers. I love where we got there, where you're talking about going to the county records. It's a very old school tactic, but the reason it's still around is because it works, right?
That's right. You know, people, these new guys like to fuss about old school stuff. There's a reason, man. We didn't have stuff online.
Right.
We have to drive for dollars all week, go to the tax office, look up on an old green screen and find owners to mail to. They got it so easy today, but old school's still good.
It's totally functions. All right. So we found some deals, motivated sellers. We're looking to maybe take over payments in a sub-2 arrangement. Talk to me about the figure or the analysis stage. How do we define if a sub-2 deal is a good deal for the investor? So at this point, you know they're motivated, but when you're analyzing the deal, what analysis, what numbers are you looking at?
You know, that's the thing, Donnie. People think sub-2 is this magical thing that throws out all the conventional wisdom on analyzing a deal. It's not. It's just a form of financing.
Yes.
The same common sense rules about a deal matter. For example, the deal I talked about, we got under contract yesterday. Now, these people contacted us from a radio ad. But interestingly enough, they're 7 months behind on their payments.
Sure.
They just haven't gone into actual foreclosure yet. Now, these guys are moving. They've already made that decision. They want a little bit of cash. They're only $6,700 behind on their payments. 3.7% financing, Donnie. $750 a month PITI payment on a house that'll rent for $1,500 a month.
Incredible.
So we're sitting there. They're telling me they're moving. And I say, how much cash do you need? We run through the analysis. The house needs a little bit of work. It's going to need, kitchen cabinets. It's going to need some things. And I'm just like, here's what your house is worth, sir. Here's what it's going to cost to fix it. Here's what you're behind on your payments. Here's what you owe. This is what I can pay you. I offered the guy $5,000. He said, can you do 10? We sat there for a few minutes, said, we can give you 10. Listen, this house is worth $229. We're buying it for $113,000.
Oh my goodness.
That includes his $10,000. Okay.
That's amazing.
And we're taking over payments. That's what we're doing.
So no bank involvement, you're good to go. So we found this deal. In this case, you found it via a radio ad. You've done your analysis, and it's very similar, like you said. It's the same analysis process. You've got 3 numbers in the foreclosure flip analysis: acquisition price, rehab price, sales price, right?
Exactly.
If the gross spread makes sense after that, it's a deal you walk forward. In this case, you have to factor in back payment pricing, but that's because you don't have to worry about bank financing on the deal. So you're really not, how much rehab does this property need? What are you putting into it repair-wise? Anything?
We feel like we're probably going to put $30,000 plus into this house.
Sure.
But again, you do the numbers. 113 acquisition, that includes back payments, balance on the mortgage, $10,000 to the seller, 30, maybe a little more for that. So now you're in at 143. We're at 229. Minus realtor costs, we're looking at a good $60,000 profit.
From a radio ad call.
That's right. That pays for a lot of radio ads.
That pays for a lot. That gets you a couple of years of radio spots, right? So you're in a good spot of that. Yeah, I love that. So real quickly, we found the property, we've analyzed the property. Funding the property in this case is what really makes sub-2 so amazing, because at this point, you're just taking over payments on the existing bank note. You have to cure some of the back debt, so it's a bit of a quote-unquote down payment, but you're taking over, you said 3.1% interest rate.
This one's 3.7.
3.7.
3.7.
So you can't get that kind of financing out there anyway. So like that's an infinite return on your funding process. So basically, when you take over payments, there's paperwork involved. And obviously, this is heavily covered on sub2deals.com. Guys, head out to Bill's site and get all the documentation you need to really line up one of these sub-2 deals. But you obviously got the mortgage payoff. Are you closing this at a title company? You're going to do a warranty deed, quit claim deed? How do you get the property into your name?
We do self-closings for most of our things. All we need is a mobile notary. We will get a warranty deed from the seller to us, along with several other documents, mostly disclosures. The seller will get a HUD laying out the terms, the sales price, because it is a sale.
Yes.
Even though we're doing it ourselves, we'll get a limited power of attorney and that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's it. We'll close anywhere there's a mobile notary.
So there you have it. So we've got the funding figured out. You've deeded the property over. You're now making payments on it. So funding is covered. Obviously, you got to get the property fixed up. You already talked about $30,000 or so in remodel. And the obvious exit strategy here is to keep this thing, because you said the payment's like $750 a month and you can rent it for $1,500.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this, Donnie. This one's got a lot of choices.
Sure.
We can retail this property and make 60 grand. I mean, in our pocket right away.
Sure.
We can use a private lender, somebody's IRA, or something else to fund the rehab and the acquisition, and just rent it out for several $100s a month in cash flow.
Right.
We can sell it with seller financing. We could sell it as a fixer. You fix it, low down payment. I mean, we got many ways we can go with this thing, and all of them. The smallest profit of all is retailing it. Any other way we finance it for somebody else, the profit just goes. I mean, you make six figures on these deals.
That's incredible. And you don't need to do that many six-figure deals to set up an incredible retirement and lifestyle for yourself, right? So we've been through all 5 F's here, William. You found it, you figured it, you funded it, you fixed it. Now you're flipping it into a rental, or like you said, you've got multiple exit strategy options. That's where the real flexibility of Sub 2 comes in. Let's talk about people trying to get into this, though, because you hear stories like this. You just did a six-figure come up, if you will, from yesterday. Like, this was a six-figure gain in the last 24 hours. Everybody hears that, gets super excited about getting into real estate investing. Do you recommend that people look for some kind of guidance or assistance when doing this? I mean, it's kind of obvious that you offer coaching. You've got your consulting side of the business as well, but you kind of got away from coaching for a while. So tell me about that journey and why you think people should get educated a little bit more as they get started.
Well, coaches are important no matter what you do. Jody and I have coaches. We've had coaches on various things we do as well, and I'm sure you do. Most successful people have a coach of some nature. But coaching is so important because a lot of people, there's a lot of information out there. I hear people all the time say, I don't have to pay for coaching. YouTube's got everything. The problem with that is you don't know who you're dealing with, and you don't know if they know anything.
That's right.
So, the best way to get good coaching is to find somebody that you resonate with, follow them for a while, see what they do, talk to other people, talk to their students, and just get references and that sort of thing. Because I'm telling you, there are a ton of people out there that are really full of crap.
It's so true. This industry, especially because it's the new YouTube era, are providing information out there that's not necessarily good information, but they're making a lot of money for selling it. So when you meet somebody with your experience who's been in the game for as long as you've been in the game, if you can lock down somebody like that because you resonate with them and that you understand how their mind works, you're going to do a lot better, I think, working with somebody with a ton of experience. Right. Do you recommend students starting in the Sub 2 space to buy rentals, buy and hold? When you get your people started in real estate, what's generally the first plan of attack you want them to take?
Our focus for the last 12 years or so has been buying Sub 2, selling with seller financing. I'm not a landlord guy. I did that for a lot of years. It can really be a hit. That's just me. A lot of people make a lot of money being a landlord. Right. And that's where I steer most of my students, is wrapping a note and creating cash flow for 30 years.
Sure.
That's what we like to do. But you can do whatever. If you want to collect rentals, Sub 2, there's no better way. If you go out today, Donnie, as an investor and you borrow money from the bank, what are you going to pay? 8%, 9%?
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
Right.
Run the numbers on that. Plus, you're starting an amortization from day one. The house we bought yesterday, they've had that loan for 7 years. We're starting to get into some principal pay down there. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's the way to go. I don't care what you do, whether you flip, whether you sell or finance, whether you hold rentals, Sub 2 can't be beat.
I love that, because you're not involving the most difficult part of the process, the bank. Right? You start talking about all of this comes down to the flow of money, and banks have a lot of money and don't necessarily want to give it to people who don't have the experience to really do with it. They want to hold on to it themselves. Now they'll lend it out, but like you said, 7, 8, 9%. If you're dealing with a homeowner with a 3% note already, then you're already well ahead. And like you said, if you're buying in 25% into the amortization schedule on a 30-year note, you're way ahead of the game. So that's incredible advice. I absolutely love that.
And not only that, Donnie, I don't mean to cut you off, but this is what you got to think about. These loans that we're taking over are 30-year fixed, fully amortized loans.
Right.
Most investors go to the bank. It's going to be short-term money, 3 years, 5 years.
Right.
And my saying on that, balloons are for clowns. If we don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years, right?
That's true.
Actually, I think that's Ron LeGrand. I think that's where I heard that. Balloons are for clowns. I don't want to have to worry about what's going to happen down the road. I like long-term fixed.
I love that. And a lot of people get into real estate for looking for what you do. Like it's the passive income cash flow deal. But obviously in the sub two side, because it is such a different area of the investing market, it requires a great deal more education. So obviously on my side, I'm advising a fix and flip on a foreclosure deal. But the reason I want to get a perspective from guys like you is because the goal is the long-term growth cycle that comes from the passive income, that what you do accelerates at a rapid rate because you don't have to qualify for a loan. You're talking directly with the seller. You're getting better terms. You're halfway through the amortization schedule. Like you said, it's just a much better process. How do people get started with you, William? If people wanted to start your program, learn a little bit more about doing sub two deals, how do you recommend they get going? Or where would you direct them to start interacting with you more?
Just like the advice I gave on finding any coach, expose yourself to what we teach and how we do it. And the best way to do that is something that's not going to cost you anything. Go to sub2tv.com, SUB, the number 2. You can see it right there on the screen. That's our YouTube channel. We release several videos every week, tips, YouTube lives. We'll answer questions for people. Get to know us, what we do. We've got a ton of student testimonials there with their full names. You can contact them if you want to. That's the best way to get to know us.
I love that. I appreciate that. You hop on out to Sub 2 TV and definitely get in your face. You would still have that coaching group, right? It's only $7 a month for your coaching group. That's a incredible value for that investment. Can they find that on Sub 2 TV as well?
Sub 2 TV, there's going to be a link there somewhere. We do offer probably the least expensive coaching on the planet. It is $7 a month. But again, you can learn a lot without spending anything. Get to know us, see if you like us, and join the group if you want to. We'll teach you how to do this stuff.
I love that. Hey, Phil, thanks for that. So Phil was just saying, as a student of Williams, I highly recommend him and his coaching program. Awful nice when your students come in and support. So that's an awesome thing. So thanks for that, Phil. We appreciate it.
That.
And everybody else, comment if you're out there. We've got William Tingle on the show right now. If you don't have some kind of question you can hop in and ask right now, you're missing a huge opportunity. Obviously, get exposed to his network, but take advantage of the few minutes we have left here. Hop in and ask some questions, as it were. William, the market's changing. You and I have been through a couple of market cycles now. We've seen the ups and the downs. We're coming off of what's kind of a down cycle. Give me your genie predictions for what 2024 looks like for real estate investing. Who's going to win the real estate Super Bowl?
Man, I'm telling you, the opportunities right now are amazing. More people, we're more of a buyer's market now. Sellers are motivated. Houses aren't selling quick enough.
Yep.
It's going to be an incredible time to develop a portfolio. But remember what we said earlier, the same common sense rules of what makes a deal a deal. Have a very clear idea about what you're going to do with that house. A deal with as many exit strategies as possible is ideal. Remember the one we talked about from yesterday. We can retail it, make 60 grand. We can keep it as a rental if we desire. We can sell it with seller financing. They all work. You've got a ton of opportunities. And hey, don't forget, if you find your dream home, I'm sitting in my studio right now in a house we bought sub 2 3 months ago, 3.1% interest. House is worth about 3.25. We took over a $220,000 mortgage. We wrote the seller a check for 12 grand. Our payment PITI is $1,500 a month. 500 of that goes to principal, Donnie.
Amazing.
Right. So
on a deal, you never have to step foot in the bank. Nobody checked your credit for it, right? You picked up a bunch of equity. You're living in the property. And obviously, you can live anywhere. So if this house was cool enough for you to live in, it must be a pretty nice house. So
I think we made it cool. You know Jody, so yeah, we made it cool.
We're around about the design side, so I'm sure it looks amazing. That's awesome. And now, how long are you going to stay there, do you think? What's your plan for that?
I don't know. We like Northwest Arkansas. We'll probably hang out here for a few years and see what's happening. It's been a great market. We've only been here about a year, a little over a year. But we came here, no contacts, didn't know a soul. And man, we started banging and buying houses. And I'll tell you, it's been great. And this is one of the hottest markets in the country. But hey, if you know what you're doing, it doesn't matter.
That's awesome.
This is home to Walmart, JB Hunt, Tyson Chicken. A lot of people coming in here all the time. So yeah.
But you're from the Springs. That's where we met, was in the Colorado Springs market. What made you decide on Arkansas as opposed to Springs? Just wanted new.
That is such a goofy story. Jody and I got married in 2020, and we didn't really get to take a honeymoon of much because of COVID. So
Okay.
after a year and a half of being locked up in the house, we decided let's take off so we can live wherever we want. So we did Airbnbs for a year and a half.
Wow.
And we were starting to look for a place to land. And of course, we were
Okay.
just doing it based on the markets. Where's the
Sure.
best place to live to buy houses? And one of my students, actually, Cindy, told Jody, listen, you need to move to Northwest Arkansas. My sister lives there. It's great. So one
Okay.
day, Jody just says to me, hey, we're moving to Northwest Arkansas. And here we are.
That's awesome. It's kind of the cool thing about the real estate investor lifestyle, right? Like I'm in Phoenix right now, our home base is in Colorado Springs, but we're working deals right here from our desk, in Phoenix. The point is, the other cool thing about what we do is the location freedom it allows you. You can live anywhere you want to be. There are deals everywhere, and you can work deals from wherever you happen to be located. Do you still do deals outside of Arkansas? Are you looking for stuff, or most of it flowing through your local?
For over 10 years, I bought houses. I lived out of the country. I lived in Belize for over 10 years.
Oh, man,
And I bought dozens of houses I never ever saw. And that was great. It was a lot of fun. But I'll tell you, nothing beats local, Donnie. I love being able to, yesterday, sit at the kitchen table with that seller. Developing that rapport is so much easier. Zoom's cool, but face-to-face is so much better. We run radio ads. People know we're the radio people. That credibility is incredible. We're all local right now and plan to stay that way.
Well, and that's one of the things I remember when you were back in the spring. You were always the local, like it was a local celebrity. That's the best way to call it. Like when you're well known in your community as a real estate investor, that carries so much traffic because it's not the guy just trying to come in and steal your house. It's the guy who's here to help with a real estate related problem. And if you can change the dynamic of the personality around you, because real estate investors get a bad rap, I mean, and people don't think of us as good guys, but you've always been a good guy in the industry. And I'm certain that's translated into doing a lot more deals right there in your local community. So it really is a local business.
That's for sure. And it matters to people. You'd be surprised the number of times we get letters and cards all the time, but these guys live far away. We don't know who they are. It doesn't matter to people. That's a big obstacle. You can obviously overcome it, but it's a big obstacle when you live somewhere else.
100%. So adding that locality to it, making people comfortable with you as an investor. Yes, you're making money in the deals that you do, but I mean, I'm sure you've had the same experience where people are so grateful for the service that you provide and getting them out of a jam on a property they're going to get nothing on. This person's going to lose the house entirely. They walked out with a $12,000 check, which they might have gotten zero had they not met you in time. You know what I mean? So a lot of wins come from what we do, but it really is about changing the persona about what the real estate investor does. And it comes from that face-to-face, palm-to-palm interaction that only the real veterans like yourself can pull off at that level, William. It's an incredible thing. Hey, we're kind of getting towards the end of the show. Is there any parting words you want to talk about for sub 2? Any topics you want to leave people with? Nuggets of wisdom, please.
Well, I would just say, this is what I tell all of my students. I close every live with this, and it's just so true. You can have all the fancy tools you want. You can text 10,000 people a day. You can have cold callers from all over the world calling sellers. If you want to buy houses, you need to talk to sellers.
There you go.
That's the key. Have a conversation with a seller. The fastest path to cash is a conversation. So get out there, talk to sellers, and buy houses.
I love that. I love that. William, it's been an absolute honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much. And I just want to also thank you. Over the years since I've been doing this, you're always on the show commenting and interacting, and it means the world to me. So thank you so much for that. I really respect what you've done, and I appreciate all the information you're providing to people, including myself. I consider myself one of your students as well. So thank you for being a part of my growth. It's meant the world to me. Guys, we're going to wrap it up with that. Listen, it's an honor to have somebody like William Tingle on the show. Get out there, head out to sub2tv.com, learn more about the Sub 2 group, join his $7 a month coaching program. You can get as much, it's a shocking amount of information. You're going to be blown away by what he's providing for only $7 a month. I can tell you right now, if you get coaching from me, I am nowhere near $7 a month. Okay, so don't call me if you're looking for $7. But William's got more information that I can even possibly offer, to value that's going to blow you away in the Sub 2 space. So I really think it's a great thing to bring somebody like that into your education base, because you're going to learn a lot from the guy. The opportunities to do deals, as he pointed out, are happening. The market is shifting right now. Get out there, talk to sellers, start making money in real estate. And as we say every single week on the show, the most important thing to remember is don't buy a house, buy a deal. Thanks, William. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Don.